Hey there, welcome to day 1117 of What's She Up To Now in my face mask. I've actually done a live video with at least once or twice with a real face mask on. This is just a filter on the Facebook live options. There's so many. I like to do them on this particular thing so I can try out, because some of them, when you put the mask on or use the filter, it blows my head up so it's huge and takes up the whole screen. I finally, the last couple times I've gotten it, I've stopped and deleted and started the video over because it's super distracting and annoying to me, so I can't imagine how it looks and feels to other people. So today I went through a bunch of them. There's so many different ones. A lot of them have sound and things, which ends up being so loud that you can't even talk with them. They're just music, and they're for people that can dance and sing and act like monkeys, I guess. Definitely not in my skill set, dancing or singing. So what are we talking about today? What's she up to now? What am I up to today? Well, today I overslept. For me, I definitely overslept, and I have a throbbing headache. Not just a little headache, but a throbbing headache and a tummy ache. So doing the best I can to get through my content and not sound like a miserable old hag. So the face mask. Now, I don't need the face mask, but I put it on anyway because it's kind of fun, and it reminds me of the times I actually did a live video in a real face mask, not just a one that Facebook adds for me, but in a face mask. I think it was green, and then one was just shiny and sticky. I like those peel off masks where you can actually peel them off. So what does this have to do with anything, and why would you care? Nothing, actually, except sometimes we put on masks when we're out in the world. They're not as, well, they are as actually blatant and in your face as this particular mask is. We just don't think it or realize it at the time. When I think back, when I was in corporate America, I wore a mask all the time. I only showed the people in corporate America a certain part of who I really am. I show them the pieces of me that fit like a glove or fit like the perfect piece in a puzzle for the role that I was playing in corporate America. Did the same thing in a lot of areas and aspects of my life up till about a decade ago, a little over a decade ago, when I started realizing, number one, it wasn't working out for me, and it wasn't feeling right or authentic. I mean, I was running through my life like a chicken with my head cut off, which is one of my favorite sayings personally, chicken with its head cut off. I don't know, this was a toy from one of the kids' like meals at a fast food restaurant years ago, and somehow it got its head broken off, and ever since then I haven't thrown it away because it comes in handy, and it reminds me of how my life used to be, just massive, running through it all the time. So we all wear masks. We all put on and show up in the world in the different situations that we find ourselves in the way that we think that we have to, that we need to, that we should. How often do we should? I should do this, I should do that. I still catch myself shoulding sometimes and doing things that, and saying yes to things, very rarely now, but sometimes to things that I don't really want to do. I don't really want to spend my energy and my time doing that. I want to do other things. So today I want to talk about doing what you can and a little bit more. And the reason I'm adding a little bit more today is because I have realized that any belief, any thought, now if you say to somebody, you do what you can with what you've got right now, I have always thought that that's a great belief and a great motivator for me, but I realized doing what I can with what I've got right now gives me permission sometimes to just settle for things that aren't optimal. Let me give you an example. I have a very ghetto, obviously, video recording setup for my Facebook Live. Now, I have a good microphone. I don't have an awesome computer. I don't have an awesome sound system or anything. I'm actually re-mic'd up to my old wired mics because for some reason, when I was moving, which was a year ago now, come on people, get on top of it, Sharon. Do what you can with what you've got, but when you know you've got something, just find it. But I think it might be in storage, and it's been below zero for 10 days here, and I'm not going to my storage unit to look for a wireless mic. I can just get another one on Amazon delivered to the door. So it hasn't been a big enough problem, except I noticed that my lips weren't matching the sound in my videos, and I found it super annoying. And if I find it annoying, I figure other people will find it as annoying as I do. So my quick solution was to do what you can with what you've got. I found a mic, mic'd myself up, and I think the last couple of days my lips have matched the sound of the recording device. Now, I probably need to hook up a better, I need to find my wireless mic and use that for my my recordings because I think that that gives me the best results. But that's an example of doing what I can with what I've got. Would I someday like to have a recording studio or a nice camera, nice equipment and things that record me, and then somebody else that edits those recordings and those videos off of a good file? Sure, but I haven't given myself permission to go do that yet or made that a priority yet. So that reminds me, and do what you can with what you've got. Love the expression. And I usually say do what you can with what you've got right now so that you don't make any excuses for not taking an action in the direction of something that you want. You know, we have to get up and go and move toward what we want all the time, but that requires us taking action. But it's really easy to pile the excuses on and why we can't do it yet and why we shouldn't do it yet and why it's not perfect yet and why we're just wasting our energy and spinning our wheels if we do it and it's not the way it should be. Well, if that were the case, I would never have made a single live video. I would never have made a podcast episode. And I think I've got, I don't even know how many podcast episodes, but and YouTube videos. I just park my content on YouTube, but I've got thousands. There's got to be over 5,000 videos on there because my audio also posts to my YouTube account as just the audio file or like a radio for the podcast. And then the video file I post there on purpose. So I've got both the video file and then my Libsyn account posts my YouTube audio file from my podcast onto my YouTube channel. So that's thousands of videos and audios and content, pieces of content that I've shared that I wouldn't have shared if I had waited and made the excuse that I can't do it because I don't have the perfect setup. I don't have the perfect anything. I actually... I guess I'm kind of a competitive person. I don't always think that I am, but I obviously am. I remember one of my friends on Facebook, and she was the person that I was in a certification program with. And everybody does these certification programs at our own speed, at our own pace, right? But I was one of those people that got in, and I had the time and the energy to devote for it, so I flew right through the certification program. And I do that with a lot of things. Once I make up my mind and commit to something, I put in the effort required to get to the end game, to get the goal I want, and that was a certification. But that's how I met her, is why I'm sharing this. So I met her through this certification program, and she'd been talking for a while and doing some live videos, and all of a sudden she said, I'm going to launch my podcast, and then I'm going to teach you how to launch a podcast in a week. Well, as soon as I saw that, I had been toying with the idea and been told by many mentors and many coaches along the way since I began my online journey that you got to publish, you got to publish, you got to publish. You got to have a podcast, a video cast, or blog posts or something. You have to create your own platform to podcast on or to video cast or to create your own community and tribe and all the things that they say online, right? And I hadn't done it. It was, a year plus into my journey, and I hadn't done it. So when I saw her post saying she was going to teach people how to do it in a week, I thought, boom, I'm going to do that. But I did it my own way before her week, how to do it in a week presentation. And in one day, I actually launched my podcast. And then I wondered, why have I been putting this off for so long? It was a little bit challenging. There were a couple of little problems that I hit along the way, but nothing like I had built up in my mind that I had to do to have a podcast. Now, I think I've got over 4,000 episodes on my Pajama Grandma podcast right now. And now my challenge is, how do I take that Pajama Grandma podcast and burst out of that identity I had created for myself, although it is a part of me, just like this mask. My online presence was just a part of me as Pajama Grandma. And as COVID hit last year, for about a year, I'd been thinking, I need to let go of this Pajama Grandma persona if I'm going to really show up and be who I am online without the mask. And so as COVID hit, I started to just stop doing Pajama Grandma. Although I had a year-long challenge that I had already committed to do one fun thing every day in 2020, and that was on my Pajama Grandma Facebook page And so I continued to do that actually through the 8th of this year, where I finally finished up, because I didn't start on the 1st of last year, which was, I don't know why, silly. I guess because I was carrying over the previous annual challenge is why I didn't. I always have a good reason for why I do things at the time, but when I look back on it, sometimes it's not the best reasoning or the best, reason for or doing something. But that was fine. It was a non-issue change. But I'm working toward, how do I just show up as who I am? What is my brand? What do I represent? What do I want to show up and share in the world now that I've gone through all this business stuff? I've gone through all these health challenges. I've gone through all these world and life challenges. What is it now that I'm here to share and provide with the world? And part of the podcast and part of my doing Facebook Lives every day is helping me discover that. It's helping me figure out, how do we learn how to do something? By doing it, right? How do we learn to show up and be ourselves? By doing it. So every day I just practice being myself. And one of the things, one of the beliefs I adopted was, do what you can with what you've got right now. But I realized I have to add and a little bit more, so that I remember the continuous improvement piece of that, and I don't just put something in place and I just keep doing it over and over and over again. I was thinking about this with respect to my content, the content I create. The content I create is not strategic. I was on a challenge yesterday, and the lady's saying, okay, every piece of content you create needs to be strategic. Now, it's not the first time I've heard that. I heard that from Russell Brunson and Steve Larson, 3 years ago. And I get it. I see how they do that, and they put all of their stuff out and it's all strategic, but it's not necessarily authentic. They put an authentic spin on it so it looks authentic, but it isn't, because it's a story that they're creating for a specific purpose. And when you're doing that, that's fine. But I am at a point in my life where I don't think that everything that I do has to be to bring people to me so that I can sell them something, or so that I can get them to pay me to coach them or do something. Now, a lot of people aren't in that position. Then they have to make a living, and I think I'm probably doing a disservice by not serving the people that have to do that and helping them, because that's probably where my expertise is best suited. And I just need to match my beliefs and my core values with serving people in a way that serves them, and not just, sharing content. So just a philosophical thing, and it's a belief thing that all of us need to deal with, right? No matter where we are, no matter who we are, no matter what our stage of development in business and in life, we're always learning about our beliefs and our thoughts and our values and our feelings and how they interact to get us the results that we are seeing in our life. And if those results aren't exactly what we want to see, then guess what? We have to change something. We have to change our thinking, our beliefs, our thoughts, our feelings about a certain thing in order to see it differently, to act differently, to get different results. So do what you can with what you've got and a little bit more. Do what you can with what you've got and a little bit more. That's going to become my new phrase and my new saying, so that I don't allow myself to get complacent, get stuck, and just say, oh, it's good enough. Now, I mentioned I have like 4,000, it's got to be over 4,040 some views of, or podcast episodes. Guess what? I still don't have an intro or an outro on a single episode of my podcast. I have never edited a single episode of my podcast. Why? Because I don't know how. I could learn it, but when I started to do the podcast was the point at which I realized that I didn't have to learn how to do everything myself in the online world. For some reason, when I came online, unlike the offline world, where I would just get help or call an expert or phone a friend or phone somebody that would help solve a problem that I had, I didn't do that at all online. Online, I fell into that big trap where you think you have to do everything yourself, or you think you have to learn and understand everything yourself before you can even hire somebody to help you do it. Total show slower down or stopper in terms of your progress. It's about finding who already knows how to do and can help you accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. It's so that you don't have to learn everything yourself. Now, I love learning things. I'm a lifelong learner. I love reading and learning and growing. Even with my visual challenges, I love to figure out ways to read. I mean, I blow it up on my big screen TV. I've got a 62-inch screen TV that I blow things up on so that I can see them. And that works for me. Each of us have to find what works for us. So what am I doing with respect to challenges today? I think I mentioned I may not have mentioned it. This year's annual challenge is to do one thing every day that centers you. And today was about our soul and what centers your soul. Now, unfortunately, this little journal book doesn't tell us how to do anything. So what am I going to do today? I'm going to just Google and research, or DuckDuckGo or Yahoo or Bing or whatever the platforms are today to search things. I'm going to do a search online. How do you center yourself? How do you center your soul? And see what comes up, because there wasn't any instruction on how to do it. It just says how I centered my soul today. Well, I don't know how to do it. That's why I'm doing an annual challenge on how to do it, how to be more centered, how to be more focused, how to get to know myself better and get to know what makes me tick so that I can be the best version of myself each and every day, showing up as the best version of myself. So that was do one thing every day that centers you. And it was like, okay, I forget these books don't really tell us how to do anything. They just tell us the what. They don't show us the how. Just like online marketing. It tells you the what and then sells you the how. And again, I'm kind of about that. I'm like, if I can show somebody how to do something, I'm going to show them how to do it. If I can show them how to do it quickly, I'm going to probably do it in a Facebook Live video or in a Facebook Live demo video, or a StreamYard or whatever platform, Zoom call or something, because there's so much stuff we know that it's like keeping a lot of stuff in our house. I happen to be a pack rat. Maybe I'm a recovering pack rat, but I still have things that I keep a lot of, or pack rat, like pens and pencils. I mean, I probably have more pens and pencils in my life than a human beings really need. Any other human being probably needs on the planet, right? I could run a small business with all of just the resources I have with respect to pens and pencils. Why? I like pens and pencils. I like drawing. I like art. And the worse my vision gets, I think the more I like those things and hang on to those things just as a way of staying connected. But we all have those things. And some of them we need to let go of and share with other people, because they're resources that we're hanging on to, but we're not utilizing them. We're not using them in our life in a productive way, so we can just let them go so other people can benefit from them. When I changed my mindset on that, about having stuff in case I needed it someday, which I don't know where I got that belief that I had to have a lot of stuff in case I needed it someday. I do the same thing with my weight. I have to keep a little extra weight on in case I get sick someday. Where do those beliefs come from? I have to, you have to, when they come up and they show themselves to us, then we have to look at them and say, well, even if I can't figure out where it came from, it's not serving me. I need to let that belief go. And we all have lots of beliefs like that, because our beliefs, we don't even know where they came from or who they belong to, half of them, if not 90% of them, and we're not even aware of them because they're running in our subconscious. So we let those things go. The same is true of centering and just learning more about ourselves. We want to continually improve and become the best version of ourselves each and every day. And as we're here on the planet, to me, that's our purpose. Our purpose is to live this life as only we uniquely can. My purpose is there's stuff along the way, but it's all about the experiences that only I can have because of my unique skill set and experiences and whatnot. Makes it so fun to go through life when you're just being yourself, because there's no competition. As weird and quirky as each and every one of us are, me included, doing an entire Facebook Live with a black mask on my face, which might be green. I think it's black. I can't tell. It's a color. But it wouldn't matter what color it is. It's being okay with doing that. And knowing that it's not the end of the world if I trip over my tongue or make mistakes. Get Up and Go Challenge Day 18 today was all about taking action and the importance of action in our SOAP framework. Still teaching the SOAP framework this year. Started teaching it last year and sharing it. I guess I'm teaching it, but sharing it, and then a tool a day that you can use to apply that SOAP framework, install it in your subconscious to guarantee that you'll always get better results after a change or challenge than before experiencing that change or challenge. How can I say that? Because thousands of us have been doing just that over the last year. And I've done it thousands and thousands of times in my own life, as have, millions of other people. And they might not even be aware of it. I wasn't aware that I was using the SOAP framework until last year when I gave it a name. Before then, I was just doing it automatically because I had learned over the years what worked for me to deal with change and challenges. Because guess what? Change is inevitable. There's not very many things that we can count on in our lives, but the ones that we can, we need to make them work for us, not against us. What are those things? We can count on knowing that change is always going to happen, and it's up to us to decide how we're going to respond and react to those changes. We can count on weather's unpredictable, and we have absolutely zero control over the weather. We can count on the knowing that at some point we're going to die or transition out of this life that we're living into what is beyond, and what is beyond is based on each and every one of our individual beliefs. So that's it for today. 3 challenges working on doing a challenge with Mark Boness, which is awesome. Just finishing. I'm actually behind on that, but he's got it evergreen, so I can go back and do the exercises. And it's one of those challenges where I personally have struggled with the thing he's teaching us to do in the challenge, and it's all something that's easy for some people. The people that it's easy for have much easier success than people that struggle with this. I'm one of those people that struggle with it, and I believe I have to struggle with it. No idea why, but that's one example of those beliefs that we have to look at and say, well, why do I think I have to struggle with making a choice on this? I'm not locked into that choice forever, but for some reason our beliefs keep telling us all these things. Great way to overcome that and figure that out. Grab a notebook and a piece of paper and just start writing it down. Write down things that might be bothering you or that might be blocking you, and then just unpack them one at a time. I believe that, and I can't remember what the belief even was right now, that certain things, and how is that either helping to propel me in the direction I want to go, or how is it holding me back? If it's keeping me stuck in my current situation, my present situation, and it's not moving me toward what I want, or if it's having a negative impact on my results in an area of my life that I don't want, that is when it's a signal and a key time to start looking at those things and really being honest with ourselves and looking at them and saying, all right, I may or may not understand why I have this belief, but since it's come up, I obviously have it. So what am I going to do about it? Am I going to ignore it like I have for all these years and keep getting the same results I've gotten? Or am I going to say, I wonder where I got that. If I don't know, great. If I do know, oh, that's really interesting and powerful that I set that belief in motion. And then what happens is we see this ripple of how that belief, from the time we think we established or got that belief and the event that caused that to lock into our brains, all of how it colored every other experience we've had since then. And guess what? It's as simple as that. Seeing it and realizing the impact it's had to give us the momentum, the motivation, the desire to let that go and change that. All right, enough meandering from me today. Have an absolutely amazing day. If I can help you in any way, ask in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow.